So in the last lecture, we have covered the discussion on the topic of computing long-term capital gain if that LTCG is taxable as per section 112. Now in this lecture, I will discuss with you how to compute long-term capital gain in case of those special assets which are covered under section 112A. So 112A covers special assets. So let me share with you the screen. So this is what I discussed in the previous lecture. I discussed in the previous lecture that LTCG is taxed under two different sections, section 112 and 112A. In 112, we only compute the tax rate. Calculation of LTCG is totally dependent on section 48. Same is the case in section 112A, which now I will discuss. Here also you do the calculation as per section 48. Calculation of LTCG even under those long-term capital gains which will be taxed under section 112A is totally dependent on section 48. Section 112A gives you the tax rate only. So here also tax rate is given in section 112. Calculation is totally dependent on section 48, and section 48 says sale minus expense on sale minus indexed cost of acquisition minus indexed cost of improvement. This is what section 48 says. Tax rate of section 112A LTCGs is flat 10% exceeding 1 lakh rupees. That means till 1 lakh of LTCG under section 112A there is no tax. When I was discussing section 112 previous lecture, I gave you 4 points also. That you compute as per 48 and then tax rate to be applied as per 112. Some relief is available from this LTCG. No deduction under section 80 is allowed from this LTCG, and there was an option under 112. Some LTCGs were taxed at 10%. So now I am starting a new heading number 18, how to tax the LTCG which is covered under section 112A. And just like I told you 4 points in section 112, some points I will tell you in 112A also. So I will try to relate 112 and 112A. So I'm preparing a new heading. Heading number 18, how to tax long-term capital gains covered under section 112A. This is what the point is. Now, first, you must remember that what is the history of this. Till 31st March 18, LTCG on sale of listed equity shares when STT was paid, if STT was paid, I told you in the earlier lecture also, just because the shares are listed does not mean that STT has been paid. If the shares are listed, another condition to pay STT is these must be traded through a recognized stock exchange in India, only then STT is paid. So till 31st March 18, LTCG was 100% tax free, 100% exempt under section 10 clause 38, 100% exempt. But because of this provision, what government noticed that money is shifted from manufacturing sector to financial sector. In manufacturing sector, when you invest the amount, you provide employment, your GDP rises, more goods and services comes into the market. So investing in manufacturing is treated as a healthy sign for a good economy. But because of this provision, investors diverted their funds from manufacturing to financial assets. Because in manufacturing, if they invest the money, the company will earn profit and they will pay tax. But if they invest in financial assets, they know that if they earn profit, that LTCG will be 100% tax free. This was the one thing which government noticed. Further, this provision of section 10 clause 38 was resulting a huge revenue loss to the government. Because of these two reasons, on 1st Feb 2018, when the budget was presented, it was announced that from the next year, that means from 1st April 18, section 10 clause 38 will be abolished, will be withdrawn. From 1st April 18, if you sell the listed equity shares in a recognized stock exchange, your LTCG will not be 100% tax free. There will be some tax at least. So that some tax was imposed then through section 112A over and above 1 lakh of such gain. Only a small percentage of tax, that is 10%. Until 1 lakh gain, that means for small investors, still it is tax free. But not for everyone, which was there till 31st March 2018. So two dates are relevant here. On 1st Feb, when this was announced, now whenever in budget some extra tax provisions are announced, automatically the reflection comes automatically in the share market. Automatically. Because this announcement of extra tax doesn't make people happy. Less tax makes people happy. So it is reflected in the share market the moment it is announced. But it was going to be implemented from 1st April. So there are two different dates. Implementation would be from 1st April 18, but announced was on 1st Feb 18. So this is one thing which you will notice later on when I will start solving the numericals of this. But one thing is sure that 112A basically covers listed equity shares, basically covers listed equity shares. It is just a refinement of section 10 clause 38 in a different form. That's it. So let me tell you the provisions of section 112A now. First thing, in section 112, I told you these 4 points. I will try to relate these 4 points with section 112A also. How to compute LTCG under section 112A. So the topic which I'm discussing is how to compute LTCG under section 112A. Some points which you should note. When it is applicable, now this is first thing, when it is applicable. So the conditions of its applicability are: there must be a long-term capital asset. Second, this long-term capital asset must be equity shares, units of an equity-oriented fund. It is a new provision, units of an equity-oriented fund that's it. Units of a business trust. For you, only this much is relevant. Units of equity oriented fund is also slightly relevant, but for you, equity share sale is most relevant. This transaction of sale, since I told you that this provision came to be implemented from 1st April 18, so this transaction of sale must be done on or after 1st April 18. And last point, STT has been paid both at the time of sale and at the time of purchase. That means when the shares were purchased, these must be listed. When the shares were sold, these must be listed. If these conditions are satisfied, if all these four are satisfied, then this LTCG will be taxed specially under section 112A at a flat rate of 10% over and above rupees 1 lakh. This is my first thing. Second point, here also computation of LTCG should be as per 48, but tax at the rate tax as per 112A. So this section also, unlike section 112, this section doesn't give you how to compute. You compute as per 48, you only tax it as per 112A. In 112 also there was some relief available. Here also that relief is available with same condition. Relief available to a resident individual if what? If total income, same just like section 112, if total income excluding LTCG of section 112A is less than the exemption limit of the DSS. Same relief I have discussed in section 112. Now you will apply the same concept for 112A. Here also no deduction of section 80 is allowed. Is not allowed. From LTCG, if that is taxed under section 112A, you can't give any deduction. One point which is new, which was not there in section 112, which is here, is rebate under 87A is also not allowed. Rebate under section 87A is also not allowed. Now rebate is given from tax, so also not allowed from tax on LTCG as per section 112. In section 112, there was some option of 10% given in case of listed securities. It was available in 112. It is not there right now because here automatically the tax itself is 10%, so this option is not available. Indexation is not allowed. Indexation of cost of acquisition is not allowed. This is a new point. You cannot do indexation of cost of acquisition. Whatever cost of acquisition you have got, you cannot do any indexation. Now compare it with section 112. Let me move back. In 112, this first point is same, that you compute LTCG as per section 48 and then tax rate is to be applied as per section 112 at that time. Now it is 112A. So my first point is same. Second point is also same. There is some relief available from LTCG under section 112 and the same relief, same way of calculation of relief is available under section 112A also. Third point was also same. No rebate under section 80 is allowed from LTCG under section 112. And similarly, no deduction under section 80 is allowed from LTCG under section 112 or LTCG which is taxed as per section 112A. Last condition is not there now. In 112, there is an option to compute 10% rate of tax also in case of listed securities. In 112A, there is no such option available because the rate itself is only 10%. But other than this, some new points are there. What new points are there? Some conditions to be checked thoroughly. This is new. There was no such condition in section 112. There are some conditions in 112A. Second, this is same, this is same, this is same. This point is new. Now rebate under section 87A is not allowed from that tax which you have computed under section 112A. This point is new. Indexation of cost of acquisition is not allowed. This is one thing. But before discussing indexation, the question arises how to compute cost of acquisition. Ignis, indexation is a second stage. So how do you compute cost of acquisition? How to compute cost of acquisition? That is main question. As I told you, computation of capital gain even for these assets which are covered under section 112A is just like section 48. And if you remember section 48, when I was computing cost of acquisition, how many categories I framed? Do you remember how many categories of cost of acquisition I have told you?
Sir, 8.
8. Category 1, category 2, category 3, category 4, category 5, category 6, category 7, and category 8. Category 1 was for brand name, etc. So I cannot apply that category here. Category 2 was for shares. But do you remember what was category 3? Do you remember what was category 3? Those long-term capital assets which are covered under section 112A, and if purchased, do you remember the date? If acquired before? Before when? When the budget was announced, before 1st Feb 2018. Do you remember this or not? Please raise your hand. I have not discussed with you earlier this category 3 because I told you that I will discuss this category 3 when I will discuss section 112A taxability. Category 3 covers those LTCAs which are covered under 112A. Now, which LTCAs are covered? Most precisely equity shares. Listed equity shares, if purchased before 1st Feb 2018, special rule is given, and that I have shown you as category number 3. I will tell you in this class now how to use that category 3. Is it clear? Is this discussion till this point is clear? If yes, please raise your hands. Next point. But can you notice something? If suppose I have purchased the shares, listed shares in 2019, how will I compute the cost of acquisition? Category 3 was covering the cost of acquisition when I have purchased these shares before 1st Feb 2018. What about those shares which are purchased after 1st Feb 2018? There can be an equity share which I own or after 1st Feb 2018, and now I'm selling that share. It was listed at that time also, it is listed today also. How will I compute cost of acquisition of those assets? Can you think logically? Okay, I will tell you this. Let us revise these categories. Category 1 was for trade name, so I removed it. Category 2 was for shares. Here also in section 112A shares are covered, so I'm not removing it. Category 3 is related to these 112A shares if acquired before 1st Feb 18. Category 4 was liquidation, I removed it. Category 5 subdivision, I removed it. Category 3 was related to capital assets which are acquired before. Do you remember which are acquired before?
1st April 2000.
Yes. Category 7 was related to equity shares where assessee became the owner of the assets because of section 49 subsection 1, which is previous owner concept, and previous owner acquired before when? 1st April 2001. And category 3 was all remaining cases. All remaining cases which are not covered in 7 categories, by default you will apply category number 7. This was the categories. Now what? Suppose I have to determine cost of acquisition of these assets which are covered under section 112A. Then I have to check two things. First, when these have been acquired. If these have been acquired before 1st Feb 2018, then it is very simple. I have directly the answer, category 3. If these are acquired on or after 1st Feb 2018, then I have to apply my mind. I will simply apply normal provision. When I say simply apply normal provision, then I will carefully see. It can be category number 2. It cannot be, of course, category 3, 4, 5 note. It cannot be category number 6 because if these are acquired before 1st Feb 18, you already have category number 3. It can be, or it cannot be category number 7 also, because here also shares must have been acquired before 1st Feb 18. So in case these equity shares which have been acquired on or after 1st Feb 18, and if these are covered under section 112A, then either you apply category number 2 only, or you will be left with category number 8 only. That you will learn gradually, so I'm not discussing it for the time being. But I told you that cost of acquisition is not difficult, it is simple, just like normal provision in these cases. Only when these have been acquired before 1st Feb 2018, then you need to apply your special knowledge of category number 3. That's it. And once you have determined cost of acquisition, indexation you can never do. It is the rule of 112A. Last condition now is, my main condition says that at the time of purchase, STT must be paid, but there are some exceptions to this rule. There are some exceptions to this rule, that in some cases, even if you have not paid STT at the time of purchase, still you can use section 112A. At the time of sale, 100% compulsory, no exception. At the time of purchase, required, but some exceptions are there. So only one new point which I will write, and then I will start discussing with this numerically. So last point is cases when payment of STT at the time of acquisition is not mandatory. And even though the assessee has not paid STT at the time of acquisition, still 112A section can be applied. So what are those cases when payment of STT at the time of acquisition is not mandatory? First, if shares have been acquired before 1st October 2004, before 1st October 2004, because STT came in India on 1st October 2004. So before that, by default, there was no STT. So you cannot put unnecessarily complication on the assessees. Why STT was not paid at the time of acquisition? Because STT was not there. How could any assessee pay STT if that person has acquired the shares before 1st October 2004? So in this case, payment of STT at the time of acquisition is not mandatory. Still 112A section can be applied when now these shares will be sold. Now, if shares are acquired after this date, if acquired on or after 1st October 2004, which are not subject to STT. If you have purchased the shares on or after 1st October 2004, which are not subject to STT, then how you can pay STT, or how you could have paid STT? For example, unlisted shares. You purchase unlisted shares, there is no condition of payment of STT. But now, if you are selling these unlisted shares which have become listed now, you can use section 112A. For the timing, I am telling only these points. So to apply 112A, the knowledge of these points is must. First, it must be a long term. Short term is not covered. Equity share for your level. Otherwise, units of equity oriented fund is also covered. And in this year, we have the new point of ULIP earlier, which were exempt under section 10. Now these are also covered here. Those taxability is also covered under 112A, but I'm not discussing this point with you for the timing. It will become technical. Sale transaction, this is theory. STT must at the time of sale, at the time of purchase also must, except in some cases which I have just discussed. Here also relief will be applicable just like section 112. No deduction of section 80, no rebate. Cost of acquisition calculation is not difficult. I want to make a picture clear in your mind that 112A doesn't talk about how to compute cost of acquisition. You have to depend on section 48. And my way of teaching has taught you 8 different categories of determining cost of acquisition. In 112A, if assets shares have been acquired before 1st Feb 2018, then it is very simple. Category number 3 is already given, which is for those cases. If shares have been acquired before on or after 1st Feb 2018, then you cannot apply category 3. And out of those 8 categories, if you read carefully those 8 categories again, then if shares have been acquired on or after 1st Feb 2018, you can apply either category number 2 or category number 8. These only 2 categories will be left which can cover that acquisition happened on or after 1st Feb 2018. That you can read the categories yourself and then you will find that yes, what I'm saying is correct. Once you determine cost of acquisition, you will not do indexation, though the asset is long term, but still you cannot do any indexation. That's it. And let us start discussing the numerical, and then you will find it very easy and interesting.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, what is category 2 and both category 8? Category 2 is applicable and the shares were acquired before 1st Feb 2018.
If shares were acquired before 1st Feb 2018, I will not use category number 2 because I have specially this category given directly. Point clear or not?
Yes, sir, that was the point.
Whenever the shares have been acquired, if covered under 112 and if acquired before 1st Feb 18, don't see anything except category 3. 2 and 8 are only when the shares, these shares which are used in 112A have been acquired on or after 1st Feb 18. Please raise your hand if the discussion is up to some extent clear. I cannot expect clarity until unless I discuss the numericals, but still up to some extent it is clear. Please raise your hands. We must not train our mind to get good marks only in the examination. Marks are of no use after some age. Concepts must be strong. Clarity must be in concepts, not in any numerical something. Okay. Now let us start discussing some numericals. I hope the screen is visible. And from my book, let me discuss with you a small example, very interesting. Concept building approach written by me. Page number 7.48. Example. On this page, an example is given. I will only write the information which is there in the example. K, 55 years, a resident individual. K, 55 years, resident individual, has taxable LTCG of 3,50,000 under section 112A. Specifically, it is given that there is an LTCG section 112A. Do remember, this 112A is not the way of calculation. It only tells you that the rate at which it is taxed. This LTCG must have been computed as per section 48. His income from other source is 60,000. IFOS 60,000. Compute his tax liability on the assumption that he has deposited 10,000 in his PPF account during the year. So gross total income 410 less deduction under section 80C 10, total income 4 lakh. This is what the question is. Let us solve it now. Now we have to simply compute tax. This is what the question is asking. The only compute tax. Since it is written that 112A section is written, I will not check any theory condition. I will apply normally the concept. So there is no need to check any applicability condition because already 112A is written. You simply apply the concept of compute tax. I told you one thing. Always check what. So when you compute tax liability, what you will check? Relief applicable or not. This you must check yourself. Note 1. Now see, compute LTCG under 48 directly computation is given, so it has become easy for me and I will tax now in 112. Relief you must check. Can you tell me how much is the relief here? Those who have attended last lecture, they can tell me this amount. Can you tell me how much will be the relief in this case?
Sir, 2 lakh.
2 lakh. How?
Sir, because
first, the person is whom? Resident, individual. Then how much is total income or before or excluding LTCG of section 112A? How much is this total income? 4 lakh minus 350. This income is 50,000. Is it less than the exemption limit of this person whose age is 55 years? Yes. His exemption limit is 2 lakh 50. Up to 2 lakh 50, there is no need for this person to pay any tax. This difference is nothing but relief. So one thing is sure, that when I will tax LTCG, I will not tax 3 lakh 50. I will tax only how much? 150. Because out of 350, 2 lakh I am entitled for relief. So only 1 lakh 50 will be taxed under section 112A. Is this relief point clear? If yes, please raise your hand. This is the same relief which I discussed in the last class with section 112. Very good. Next point. So now I'm making circle which points I have read. This point I have read. This point I have read. Since directly 112A was written, there was no need to read the applicability. Deduction of section 80 is not given. Can I check this point whether I have given deduction of 80 or not? 10,000 is given, but it is from this 60,000. I must carefully see that I do not deduct anything which can be deducted from LTCG 112. Like in this example, though in PPF I deposited 10,000, but had I deposited 90,000, suppose had I deposited 90,000 in PPF, can you tell me what would have been my ATC?
Sir, 60,000.
Yes, had I deposited 90,000 in PPF, my ATC would not have been 90,000. My ATC in this case would have been 60 only, because I cannot write, I could not have written 90 here. From 4 lakh 10, I could not have deducted 90. Why? Because 410 is the combination of 350 plus 60, and no deduction of section 80 is given from LTCG under section 112A. Maximum ATC would have been till 60,000. Please raise your hand if you have understood this point. Conceptually, you must be strong in any topic which you read. Next point. Now, cost of acquisition, that is also not required here. Ignore it, because directly I've been given LTCG. So over now, that's it. Now let us start computing the tax. Now on 150, how much is the tax? Can you tell me on 150 how much is the tax?
15,000, 10%. No,
Not 15,000.
5,000.
5,000. 150 minus 1 lakh rupees into 10%. This is my tax, 5,000. Now, how much is tax on remaining income? Nil. On remaining income, the tax is nil, because maximum income was 4 lakh, and out of 4 lakh you have taxed 350 indirectly. So you are left with only 50. 50 is less than the exemption limit, so tax on remaining income is nil. 5. How much is rebate under section 87A? 5,000 or nil?
Nil.
Nil. Why?
Because rebate is not allowed on LTCG.
Yes. Though my income is less than 5 lakh rupees, but you cannot give any rebate under section 87A from LTCG, tax on LTCG of section 112A. Had it been the tax on LTCG of section 112, I could have given the rebate if my income would not have crossed 5 lakh rupees. But do remember this point carefully. If you are computing the tax on LTCG under section 112A, you cannot give rebate on the tax on LTCG of 112A. 5,000 cess, health and education cess at the rate of 4%, 200. That's it. Please raise your hand if this question is clear. Please raise your hand if this question is clear. Very good. Next example. Now you try to solve it. Those who have attended previous lecture, they can easily solve this numerical also. I will give you 5 minutes to solve. Book page 7.49. Example. I will write the figures. X, 50 years, resident individual, has taxable LTCG. Section 112A LTCG 3 lakh. IFOS 280. So gross total income 580 minus 80C given in the question 20,000. Total income. Compute the tax. I'm giving you 4 minutes to solve this case. Try to compute the tax. Any answer?
Sir, 21320.
Yes, sir.
The 21320 is the correct answer. Those who have got the answer, please raise your hands. Those who got the answer 2130, please raise your hands. Anyone who is not getting the answer, if they want to ask me the doubt, they can ask. Otherwise, I will move. If others can tell me what is their answer, if it is not 21320, they can ask me the doubt, or they can tell me their answer. Okay, so 21320 is the answer. Now next point. So there is no problem in calculating tax under section 112A if you know how to calculate the tax under section 112, because the concept used in 112 are in a modified form used in 112A, just like relief. But do you know the problem comes where? Problem comes when you had to compute cost of acquisition. That is little bit technical. How to compute the cost of acquisition of long-term capital assets covered under section. So calculating tax in LTCG of 112A is not tough. Calculating cost of acquisition is little bit technical, covered under section 112A. So I divide this in two parts. Can you tell me why I divide this in two parts, or which are those two parts?
Before and after 1st February 2018.
Yes, those long-term assets which have been acquired before 1st April 2018, and those long-term assets covered under 112A which have been acquired on or after 1st April 2018. If acquired, sorry, not 1st April, 1st Feb 18. If 1st Feb 18, can you tell me how will I solve it? Category 3. And if on or after 1st Feb, then I am using the word as per normal provisions. What are normal provisions? It can be any category, but other than category 3. That is sure. It can be any category, but other than category 3. And as I told you, if you carefully read the categories, you will find that 2 and 8 can be used. Either you will be able to use category 2 or you will be able to use category 7, not 8. Category 8, not 7, category 8. So I'm calling this as normal. For me, this normal is this category. Now, if you see category number 3, I have not discussed with you category number 3, but I told you one point. Let me tell you that. In category 3, I told you that when you apply the concept of category 3, you have to apply the provisions of other two categories also. You have to apply the provisions of You have to apply the provisions of, let me show you that. These are previous slides. So let me show you that. What I wrote at that time when I discussed it earlier with you. Say this was category number 3, which I discussed with you earlier. And if you see carefully what I wrote at that time, this point, while determining the cost of acquisition of capital asset covered in category number 3, concepts of category number 6 and 7 are also to be applied. 6 and 7 are also to be applied. So same point I will use now, and I will show you the relevance of this point. I have to apply the provisions of category 6 and 7 also. Again, see, when you determine the cost of acquisition of LTCAs covered under 112A, make two categories when these were acquired before 1st Feb 18 or on or after 1st Feb 18. If these are acquired before 1st Feb 18, you have only one answer, category 3. But when you use category 3, you might need to take the help of, you might require the help of category number 6 and 7 also within category 3. And what is category number 6? If you remember, when the shares have been acquired by the assessee before 1st April 2001. What is category number 7? When the shares have been acquired by the assessee because of the situations of 49(1) and previous owner acquired it before 1st April 2001. This is what my category 6 and 7 is. That's it. So now I will teach you first category number 3. Let me discuss with you the provisions of category number 3. So I'm not discussing this point for the time being. My concentration is on my first portion, when the shares have been acquired before 1st Feb 2018. This is my first preference. So I'm moving to the next page and you should note it down. The concepts which I will use now. Now I'm telling you meaning of cost of acquisition. So I'm going back to my previous discussion long ago when I discussed with you the meaning of cost of acquisition. 8 categories I discussed, 7 I discussed in detail earlier. Now I'm left with only category number 3. So I'm discussing with you my category number 3. and what the rule says. That cost of acquisition of long-term capital assets covered under section 112A is determined by following these two steps. Step 1. So you write it down. Step 1. Fair market value of such capital assets or sale value of such capital assets. Fair market value of such capital assets or sale value of such capital assets, whichever is lower. From this, lower is to be taken. Step 2. Value arrived at step 1 or actual cost of acquisition of these assets, whichever is higher. This is what is equal to cost of acquisition. That's it. Fair market value of such asset or sale value of such asset, whichever is lower. This lower value or actual cost of acquisition of such assets, whichever is higher. Now question arises, what is this fair market value? The entire question arises on fair market value. So note. How to determine fair market value of such capital assets which are covered under section 112A. How to determine the fair market value of such capital assets? Now, assets can be of different types. First, if this asset is listed on any recognized stock exchange in India, on 31st Jan 2018. If these are listed on any, because on 1st Feb in the budget it was announced, so government said that before the announcement, that is the last day, because it is genuine. For till 31st Jan, no one knew that such provision could have come. So government said that on 1st Feb we have announced it in the budget. So if the shares were listed on your recognized stock exchange, because at that time, after the announcement, there might have been some changes in the stock market. But till 31st Jan, whatever is the market value, that was the actual value without divide of any this information. So if the shares are listed on any recognized stock exchange, then fair market value of that asset or share is highest price of that share. I'm using the word capital asset, but in reality, for your level, it can be equity share only. Quoted on such exchange. On 31st Jan 2018. This is my first point. Second, where the share is not listed on any recognized stock exchange in India, on 31st Jan 2018, but listed on the date of transfer. It is possible that my share was not listed on 31st Jan, but it became listed after some time, but listed on the date of transfer. So in this case, how do you determine the fair market value? You determine the market value as cost of acquisition of that asset. Now see, this COA is not the final COA. It is not the final COA. This COA will help in determining. Can you tell me this COA will help in determining what? This COA is helping me in determining fair market value. From this COA, I will get this FMV. From step 1, then I will get some value. And in step 2, I will get the final COA. So don't confuse this COA, which I'm writing as the final COA of the capital asset. No, this COA is used to determine the fair market value. Final COA comes later on, which I will deduct. Till now in the previous questions, I was directly given long-term capital gain. Now directly long-term capital gain is not given. I have to compute in reality like this. So this COA must be divided by CII for the first year in which the capital was held by the asset. CII for the first year in which the capital asset was. You must note down this page. Please note it down, because I will discuss some 7 to 8 small examples which will clear the confusion in your mind. In which the capital asset was held by the assessee or cost inflation index of 2001 to whichever is later. Multiplied by CII of the financial year 17-18. So CII of financial year 17-18 is, please note it down, it is 272. It is 272. Please note down this page, and then I will solve some numericals, then you will relate these points. Please note down this page, and if you have noted down this page, then you please raise your hands. You must note down this page. Hurry up, everyone must note down this page. Please note it down and raise your hands. Hurry up, please note it down. Or whether you have taken a screenshot, whatever, please raise your hands. Be fast and let us discuss some 7 to 8 small numericals. Hurry up, please. Be fast. Hurry up, be fast. Okay, so let us start solving some numericals from my book, which will help in understanding this concept. Now you will find it interesting. Learning it is a little bit technical, So let us discuss some examples from book, and these examples are only talking about cost of acquisition, how to determine cost of acquisition. If cost of acquisition is determined, then gain is very easy. Say less expense on say less cost, because indexation you cannot do in section 112A. So whatever cost that you have to deduct from this sale value, that's it. So book, concept building approach. Page number 7.19. Illustration number 1. Just think logically. I will write something. An equity share, just listen carefully. Equity share is acquired on 1st Jan 17. Equity share acquired, purchased on 1st Jan 17 at 150 rupees. Rupees 150. For 150 I purchased this share. Fair market value given. Fair market value is equal to 200 on 31st Jan 18. 31st Jan 18. Sold on 1st April 20, which is my previous year, this date in my previous year, for 250. STT paid both at the time of sale as well as at the time of purchase. Share is listed on this date, when on 31st Jan 18 share is listed, and when at the time of sale as well as on the time of purchase it is STT is paid. By default it means this is listed on 1st April 20 sale date and on 1st Jan 17 also purchase date. That's it. Now first of all you have to check whenever these are shares, whenever anything is share, and if it is long term, because the shares are listed at the time of sale, the period is 12 months and I am holding it for more than 12 months. So one thing is sure that it is long term capital asset. But it does not mean that it is covered under 112. I need to check the condition. Is it a long-term capital asset? Yes. Is it a share? Yes. Is the transaction entered on or after 1st April 18? Yes. Sale is happening after this date. Is STT paid at the time of sale and purchase? Yes. All the 4 conditions are satisfied by default. That means I have to apply section 112. I have no choice. I have to apply it. Please raise your hand if you have understood carefully that yes, you need to apply 112A in this example. Examiner will not tell me whether 112A is applicable or not. That you have to check yourself, just like I have seen. All the 4 conditions you have to check whenever you have equity shares listed. You must check it. Please raise your hand if you have understood the point that section 112A is applicable here. Once I am sure that section 112A is applicable here, then what I will do? Now you determine cost of acquisition. This is the next step. Once it is 112A, let us determine cost of acquisition. So cost of acquisition is how determined? Then you have to check when these were acquired. Is it acquired before 1st Feb 18? Yes, it is acquired before 1st Feb 18. It is acquired before 1st Feb 18. So I will apply category number 3 now. I will apply category number 3. If I apply category number 3, then what is my step 1? Fair market value, which is given fortunately, which is given 200, or sale value. What is the sale value? 250. Which is lower? 200 is lower. Step 2. This is rough presentation. Fair you can see from my book or from other material which you are referring. Step 2. This lower value, which is 200 rupees, or actual cost. What is the actual cost? 150. Which is higher? 200. This is my cost. Once I determine the cost, let us compute capital gain. Capital gain is computed as per section 48. Very simple. What is the sale value? 250 rupees. Is there any expense on sale given? No. Cost of acquisition 200 rupees. But will I do indexation because it is long term? Answer is no. Had it not been 112A, I would have done indexation also. But in 112A, indexation is prohibited. So directly whatever is the cost of acquisition, I will deduct it flat. And I have, since improvement cannot be there, there is long-term capital gain of section 112A. This is what 112A is, 50 rupees. Please raise your hand if this is clear. Otherwise, ask me the doctor. Hurry up, ask me the doctor. Otherwise, raise your hand. I hope now you are finding it a little bit comfortable. It might be looking a little bit technical, but it's interesting also. Next example. Illustration number 2. Equity share is acquired. So again, equity shares acquired on 1st Jan 17 for rupees 150. You have to tell me the answer now. So be confident and be ready. Fair market value 200. And first of all, you must check, just because fair market value is given, just because something is equity share, just because STT is paid at the time of sale and purchase, don't think that it is 112A. Check all the 4 conditions carefully. 31st Jan 18. Sold on 1st April 20, which is my previous year, of course, at 160 rupees. 160 rupees. STT is paid both at the time of acquisition as well as on transfer. STT paid sale as well as purchase. Share is listed on 31st Jan 18. That means on this date the share was listed. So this share was listed at the time of purchase, at the time of 31st Jan, as well as at the time of sale. That's it. Now first you tell me, ignore 112A. First, the main foundation is what? Long term or short term? Sequence I am following. Long term or short term? Hurry up. Long term or short term?
Long term.
Long term.
Since sale, at the time of sale STT is paid, it means by default it is listed. And since these are equity shares, so listed shares, 12 months. I purchased these on 1st Jan 17 and selling it after 12 months. So one thing is sure, it is long term. It is long term. It is equity share, transaction entered on or after 1st Feb 2018, and STT paid both purchase and sale. All the four conditions are satisfied. 112A is applicable by default, no problem. Now I have to compute gain. Gain will be as per section 48. It's simple, but I need to compute cost. Can you tell me what is the value of step 1? Hurry up. Step 1. Read it and tell me value of step 1.
Sir, 160.
200 or 160, whichever is lower, 160. Step 2. This lower or actual cost, actual 150, which is higher, 160. This is my cost of acquisition. And do remember always, I'm applying category 3 because I have purchased these assets before 1st Feb 2018. Now capital gain, very simple, sale. I'm using section 48. Do remember, I'm using section 48. I'm using section 48. Sale 160. Expense on sale 0. Cost of acquisition 160. How much is gain now? Nil. So my LTCG as per section 112A, nil. Please raise your hand if this point is clear. Next point. Please raise your hand if it is clear. It's not tough, but you need to learn. You need to learn these points. Only one student has understood this point.
Sir,
Yes, yes.
Sir, if we follow the steps of calculating the cost of acquisition, even though we acquired the share at 150 and we are selling it 160, there is no capital gain.
If what?
Sir, we are acquiring the asset at 150 and selling it at 160, yet we are not computing capital gain.
I'm not asking what are you telling me? What do you want to tell me?
Sir, I mean, the assessee does earn some gain, right? From once he's purchasing at 150 but selling at 160. Yet we are not, through these steps, we are not charging the income tax.
Yeah, government doesn't want to charge it. There is no problem. And how can you say that assessee is earning the gain? Had you done the indexation, there might have been loss also.
Yes, sir.
So this is special. These are having special provisions because government doesn't want it to have bad reputation of its in the international market. There was, you can see the stock market on Sensex of 31st December to the 31st Jan 2018 and the Sensex of 1st Feb 18. You can see that Sensex. By this step, there was a fall in the value. So FDIs or these people were not happy with this step. So government had to save its image. That is why they didn't apply the normal provisions of computing cost of acquisition. They took some higher value as the cost of acquisition so that people remain happy or investors remain happy, because it was announced suddenly. For the past so many years, it was totally tax-free, and suddenly you impose a tax, it will leave a bad image. That's it. That is why all this exercise is being taking place. Is it clear, Sanjay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Third illustration. Third illustration. Think carefully. Just think carefully. Third illustration. Equity share. Then I'll discuss fourth. And I'll discuss with you 8 small illustrations. After this, you will 100% clear with the concept of 112A. Equity share acquired acquired on 1st Jan 17 at 150. Fair market value 50 rupees only, 50 rupees on 31st Jan 2018, sold on 1st April 20 at 200 rupees. STT paid at the time of sale as well as at the time of purchase. Share is listed. Fortunately, here also share is listed. Now that's it. I don't know whether section 112 is there or not. How will I solve? First of all, main step. Is it long term or short term? How many months? STT paid at the time of sale, and these are shares. So this is listed. In case of listed, I have 12 months period. So if I follow 12 months period, I can confidently say that it is a long-term capital asset. Then I will think in direction. Is it 112A? Now I will start thinking in this direction. It is equity share. Transaction entered. Transaction of sale entered on or after. Transaction of sale entered on or after 1st April 18. STT paid at the time of sale as well as at the time of purchase. All these conditions made one thing sure that 112A is applicable. Now if 112A is applicable, how to determine cost of acquisition? Now category 3 can only be applied if these have been acquired before 1st Feb 18. Yes, these have been acquired before 1st Feb 18. These have been acquired before 1st Feb 18. Now one thing is sure that category 3 will be applied. Step 1. Can you tell me what is the answer of step 1? Step 1. FMV or sale? 50 or what?
200.
Yes, lower. Step 2. This lower or actual cost 150, which is higher? 150. Compute capital gain. Apply section 48. Sale 200. Expense on sale nil. Cost of acquisition, because I cannot do indexation. This I know. I cannot do indexation. 150. LTCG 50 rupees. That's it. Please raise your hand if third example is also clear. If third example is also clear, please raise your hands. Next example. Equity share acquired on 1st Jan 17 at 150 rupees. Fair market value 280 on 31st Jan 18. Sold 1st April 20. At 50 rupees. Only 50 rupees. STT both. At the time of sale as well as at the time of purchase. Listed on this date. Coincidentally or fortunately listed on this date. Now, just because I am having this information, I should not think about 112A. First, I must know long term or short term. For every question, long term or short term. STT paid at the time of sale. This means the share is listed and it is an equity share, so 12 months. One thing is sure that the asset, that is equity share, is long term. Then I can think in 112A direction. Long term, equity share transaction of sale on or after 1st April 18, STT both purchase as well as sale. So now 112A is sure. Cost of acquisition can be in two different directions, before 1st Feb 18 or after 1st Feb 18, on or after 1st Feb 18. Since the acquisition is before 1st Feb 18, then I will apply category number 3, cost of acquisition as per category 3. Step 1, fair market value 280 or sale value 250, which is lower, 250. Lower value 250 or actual cost 150, which is higher, 250.
Sir, the sale value is 50.
Okay, sale value is 50. Fair market value of sale value, so 50. So 50 is lower. Then lower or actual cost higher. So 150 is higher. Capital gain. Section 48. Sale 50. Expense on sale nil. I cannot do indexation, so I will write exact cost of acquisition because under 112 indexation is not allowed. 112A cost 150. There is a loss 100 rupees. Please raise your hand. Raise your hands if this point is also clear. Hurry up. If this illustration is also clear, please raise your hands. Next point. Illustration 5. Equity share acquired on 1st Jan 17 at 150 rupees. Sold on 1st April 2020 at 250 rupees. The share gets listed on the recognized stock exchange for the first time on December 18. First time. That means when it was acquired, it was unlisted. First time listed. First time listed on 30th December 2018. 30th December 2018. New point. It is new. It is a new question. STT paid at the time of sale. Since at the time of acquisition it was unlisted, I could not have paid STT. Now, long term or short term, this is the starting point. Long term or short term, sale STT paid, that means it is listed. Equity share at the time of sale, 12 months. On the basis of 12 months, starting from 1st Jan 17, it is long term capital asset. Now I will think in the direction of 112A. Equity share, sale happening on or after 1st April 2018. STT paid at the time of sale, but not at the time of purchase, and it is covered under the exception. Here purchasing at the time of purchase STT, since was unlisted share, STT could not have been paid. So Still I'm covered under 112A. Had it been listed and if I have not paid the STT at the time of purchase, I could not have used 112A. Now, cost of acquisition. Can I apply category 3? Yes, because I am purchasing this before 1st Feb 2018. Cost of acquisition, step 1. What is step 1? Fair market value. Oh, I don't have fair market value. Then you use the format of computing fair market value. So now one extra step will be done. How to compute fair market value? Compute fair market value. Come back. Is the share listed on 31st Jan 18? No. The share was listed first time in December 18. So is the share listed on 31st Jan 18? No. But it was listed at the time of transfer. So I will apply this second category. Cost of acquisition. What is the cost of acquisition? Can you tell me what is the cost of acquisition? Cost of acquisition 150 rupees divided by CII of the year in which asset is held first time by the SSE, or CII of 1-2, whichever is later. So CII of held by the SSE. Previous year 16-17. What is the index of 16-17? If you see the index of 16-17, it is 264. It is the CII of previous year 16-17 when the asset is acquired, multiplied by CII of 17-18 by default, which is 272. This is giving me fair market value. How much? It is 155 rupees. And do remember, when I'm taking this cost of acquisition, I applied the same sequence which I was applying earlier, that before determining cost of acquisition, I must be having actual cost. Actual cost can be given directly when I actually purchased, or actual cost can be in the same circumstances when you do not become the owner by purchasing it by other means. So I applied the same concept. But since in this case I purchased the assets directly, I have the actual cost. So whatever is the actual cost, that became my cost as it is. So this chain which I was applying in the entire chapter of capital gain, that I have applied, and then I have written 150 rupees. This is my fair market value. Now fair market value or sale, whichever is lower, 155. Second step, lower or actual cost. What is the actual cost? 150. Which is higher? 155. Compute capital gain by applying section 48. Sale 250 less expense on sale less cost of acquisition. And this is what the difference is, 95 LTCG section 112A. Please raise your hand if this point is clear. And do remember the same point I told you, that the point which I told you earlier was that never get confused in this point. This cost of acquisition is not equal to this final cost of acquisition. Like in this example, the final cost of acquisition comes out to be 55. This cost was, sorry, this final cost came out to be 155. and this cost was 150. So these two are different. Don't get confused in this one. Please raise your hand if this point is clear. This illustration clear? Please raise your hand. Very good. Next point. Okay, I hope the screen is visible. Sixth illustration. I hope the screen is visible. Sixth illustration. Equity share acquired, own. First Jan 1997. 1997 for 150 rupees. Fair market value on 1st April 2001. 70 rupees. 170 rupees. Sold on 2nd April 20. ₹480. First time listed. First time got listed on 30th December 2018. STT paid at the time of sale. That's it. Ignore 1128. It's normal question. Solution. First of all, STT paid at the time of sale. Listed share. So period 12 months. Holding period will start from 1st Jan 17. So it is long term. There is no doubt. Now I will think in direction of 112A. Always whenever it is listed equity share, think in the direction of 112A. Once you have determined that it is long term, it is equity share. Transaction of sale happening on or after 1st April 2018. STT paid at the time of sale only, not on at the time of purchase. Will I apply section 112A or not? I will still apply 112A. Why? Can you tell me why?
Sir, because it is acquired before 1st October 2004.
Yes, 1st October
4.
4. Because in India, before 1st October 2004, there was no STT. So at the time of purchase, STT is not required. Still, I can use 112A. Now, I need to determine cost of acquisition. So will I apply category 3 or not? Yes, because these shares have been acquired before 1st Feb 2018. Apply the steps. Step 1, fair market value. Oh, not given. So let us compute fair market value. Were the shares listed on 31st December 31st Jan 2018? No, first time these were listed on 30th December 18. So here also I will apply the same formula. Since the shares are not listed on 31st Jan 18 but got listed on the date of transfer, but got listed on the date of transfer. So you apply the same formula. Cost of acquisition divided by CII something multiplied by CII of 1718. Now can you tell me what is the cost of acquisition? Do you remember I told you that while applying category 3, you need to apply the concepts of category 6 and 7 also. And here I need to apply these concepts. What was category number 6? If you remember, if asset has been acquired by the assessee. Do you remember?
Before 1st April 2001.
Yes. So before applying category 3, take the help of category 6 also. When assessee acquired the asset before 1st April 2001, can you tell me what is the cost of acquisition? Actual cost or fair market value on 1st April 2001, whichever is higher. Higher is my choice, but as a rational person, I will go by higher. Now, is actual cost given to me directly, or I need to take the help of section 49? Is it given to me directly, or I need to take the help of section 49, where I do not become the owner by purchase but by other means? It is given to me directly. So what is my actual cost? 150. Or what is fair market value? 170. So which is higher? 170. This becomes my cost. 170 divided by index of which year? Index of 1996, 97 or 2001-2, whichever is later. So this is later. So this index is 100 multiplied by always CII of the year of 1617, which is 272. It gives me the fair market value. 462, I think. Yes, 462. Through this example, I wanted to show you how these concepts will be applied within category 3. This I have shown how you will apply these concepts. Without application of category 6 and 7, category 3 cannot be answered in this example. 462 is the fair market value. Now it's easy. 462 or sale, lower. Step 2, lower or actual cost of acquisition, higher. 462. Capital gain, very simple. Sale, 480. Less expense on sale, nil. Indexation cannot be done, so 462. LTCG flat 18 rupees. Please raise your hand if this point is clear. You need to practice a lot when you will read section 112A. It is interesting, but you need to learn the concepts. Please raise your hand if this illustration is clear. In case there is any doubt, please ask. Okay, two small illustration and then 112A will be 100% over and we will end the lecture. You need to practice 112A with dedication. Illustration 7. Now these are last two illustrations, 7 and 8. Equity share is acquired. Equity share acquired on 1st Jan 17 for 150 rupees. Fair market value 280 rupees on 31st Jan 18. Sold 1st April 20 for 310 rupees. STT paid at the time of sale. Sale. Question says that at the time of acquisition, STT was not paid, though it is applicable. Question says at the time of acquisition, STT, reason is STT not paid. Why? Question says STT not paid, though it is applicable. Then why it was not paid? Though it is applicable. It was applicable in fact. Though it is applicable when I purchased the shares, but I didn't pay STT because I did the transaction outside stock exchange, and it is not a crime. I can do it, there is no problem. I did the transaction outside stock exchange. It is not a crime to do the transaction outside stock exchange. I'm under no compulsion to do the transaction on the stock exchange. I do it because I get the fair price. That's it. Otherwise, it is not illegal. But I might not get the benefit somewhere in taxation. And question also says share has been a listed share. Always has been a listed share since its acquisition. Now, can you tell me long-term or short-term solution? Equity share. At the time of sale, it is listed because STT is paid. So 12 months period. If it is 12 months period, then it is long-term capital asset. There is no doubt. Because it was purchased on 1st Jan 17 and sold after 12 months. Now, if it is long-term and it is a share, I will start thinking in the direction of 112A. Is it equity share? Yes. Is the transaction happened on or after 1st April 18? Yes. Is STT paid at the time of sale and purchase? At the time of sale, yes. At the time of purchase, no. But no issue. I need to check. Am I covered under any exemption or any exception? Answer is no. When there was an STT concept at the time of purchase, then why you didn't pay? Because you entered into the transaction of sale outside stock exchange. Then now, since this condition is not satisfied, section 112A is not applicable for you. You cannot claim the benefit of now section 112A. Is this point clear? If yes, please raise your hand. Just because it seems to me that almost every condition is satisfied, it doesn't mean that every condition is satisfied. At the time of purchase, I didn't pay STT, though it was applicable. So I cannot now claim the benefit of section 112A. Please raise your hand if this point is clear. So now if you cannot claim the benefit of 112A, then there is no need to check any category number 3 now. Then it is a normal question for you. And what do I mean by normal question? Simple concept. Normal capital gain. Then now it is a normal question for me. Normal means what? Apply section 48 and simply compute capital gain. It is a normal question now. Ignore any category number 3 now. Sale 310, less expense on sale, nil. Now, if it is a normal question and if it is long-term capital asset, I will do indexation also. I have to do indexation. In normal question, only in case of bonds and debentures, I do not do indexation. Otherwise, I have to do indexation. So let us do indexation. But before indexation, I must compute cost of acquisition. Before computing cost of acquisition, I must be having actual cost. Do I have the actual cost with me? Yes. How much is the actual cost? 150. So actual cost 150. Simply divided by normal indexation formula, CII of the year in which asset is held by the assessee, or 2001-2, whichever is later. So asset is held by the assessee in 2016-17. So what is the index of 16-17? 16-17 index is 264. It is a normal question now. So never get confused in such questions where these will look like to be section 112A, but these are not actually 112A. CII for previous year 2016-17. Normal question. Now you multiply it by the CII of transfer, which is 301, which is the CII of previous year 2021. So what is this index value? 171. So I have my normal LTCG, which is 139. And can you tell me this normal LTCG is taxable under which section? Under which section it is taxable?
The 112.
112, because there are only two sections of LTCG taxability, either 112A or 112. It is 112, not 112A. This word you must not forget. Please raise your hand if this is clear, and then I will discuss with you last illustration, and then we will end this session today. Today's session has I discussed with you technical concept, but it was necessary to wind up it in the one lecture. Next point or last illustration. This recording will help you in revising these concepts. Last illustration, and then we will end the class. Last. An equity share is acquired on 1st Feb 18. Equity share. First Feb 18 at rupees 150. Fair market value is 140 on 31st Jan 2018. Sold sale value is 250 on 2nd April 20. This is what the question says. STT both sale as well as at the time of purchase, both. Now, first starting point, always long term or short term. At the time of sale listed, because STT is paid and these are equity share, it means that 12 months. And I purchased it on 1st Feb 18 and selling it after 12 months, so it is long term. Now you start thinking in terms of section 112 because these are shares. Equity share, yes. Is transaction of sale happen on or after 1st Feb 2018? Yes. Is STT paid at the time of sale and purchase? Yes. Is 112 applicable? Yes. No problem. 112 applicable. Now, after this, I will determine cost of acquisition. Next step, determine cost of acquisition. Is category 3 applicable? Is category 3 applicable? No, because this might be 112A capital gain, but category 3 of calculation of category 3 is applicable only when these are acquired before 1st Feb 18. But in this case, these are acquired exactly on 1st Feb 18. So now, since these are acquired on or after 1st Feb 18, I will apply normal provisions. I will apply normal provisions. I will not apply that concept of fair market value of this lower, this or that higher, etc. because category 3 is not applicable now. So you apply the normal provision. And what is the normal provision? What is the normal provision? As I told you, if I say normal provision, for your case, the normal might be in category number 2 or in category number 8. That's it. So normal is simple. What is cost of acquisition? Whatever is your actual cost of acquisition. That's it. So whatever is your actual cost of acquisition, that is your cost of acquisition. 150 is the cost. So it's a normal question now. Sale, no 112A. No, sorry, there is 112A, but cost of acquisition is normally calculated. So now when you compute capital gain as per section 48, what you will write as sale 250 rupees less expense on sale nil. Cost of acquisition, I cannot do indexation in 112A. This you remember. I have computed cost. This is section 112A. Calculation of cost of acquisition has changed now. It is not as per category 3, it is normal. But in 112A, you cannot do indexation. So your cost will be written as 150 rupees. And this gain will be taxable as 112A gain 100 rupees. That's it. Please raise your hand if this point is clear. So that's all for today. In the next lecture, day after tomorrow, we will discuss section 111A. You are supposed to revise this 112A carefully. It is not tough, but it is interesting. Technical, of course, but you must also be happy at one point that you are learning something which is not easy for everyone to understand. Please revise it. And that's all from my side. Goodbye. So I'll meet you now in the next lecture where I will discuss with you section 111A. So we are now finally on the verge of completion of capital gain. Very soon, within next 2 to 3 classes, we will wind up capital gain and we will start a new chapter then. Goodbye finally.